So now let's read through this maintenance book together.
So, in an effort to see what would be the best way to go through the recommended maintenance program from Yamaha, I thought we'd go through this manual. Now, originally I'd recorded myself reading the physical book, like in the beginning of this video, but I think going through this PDF version is much better. If we go to page 47, we see that there is the periodic maintenance chart. So I'm going to go through each of these items and say a couple words on them and kind of advise whether I've already done that in a video or whether it's in an upcoming video or whether I think it's useless, useful, that kind of thing. I guess here if we look, we've got the items listed in this first column. We've got kind of the routine or what you're going to do, whether it's a pre-operation check, so check that before every time you use the unit. If you do it initially at the 1 month after getting the unit, or then every 6 or every 12 months there as noted. Now, it says here items marked with an asterisk should be performed by Yamaha dealer as they require special tools, data, and technical skills. So the first item, handlebar, looseness and play. I think you'll know pretty quickly if your handlebar is loose because you'll feel it pretty well. So I wouldn't bother going on my way to check that. The skid, mounting, and parallel layout. So I've actually got that in one of the videos, as well as the auger height control. Which is adjustable via the skids. So I kind of know what height they're at based on the auger performance. The engine switch, well, you'll know every time you start it and stop it whether it works. The auger brake, so definitely when you let go of the auger lever, the auger should stop and kind of come to a quick stop. The controls, so throttle and choke lever, self-explanatory. Auger clutch operation and working conditions. I think it'll be pretty obvious if the auger stays on when you let go or it doesn't come on when you push it. The shift lever, you're using it every time. The shift lever adjustment status. This is, whether you're in forward, neutral, or reverse, and whether it's, working to the position that's indicating. Drive clutch operation and working conditions. So, I mean, if your tracks aren't turning, you're going to know. Auger, the mounting status and bending. So I mean, if the auger, the impeller are bent or loose, you'll see that. But you can definitely check it every once in a while. I think it's when you're cleaning snow out of there, you'll see that kind of stuff. Belt condition, and I think we'll do that in an upcoming video. It's not very hard to do, pretty easy to inspect. The chute, so whether the chute works and has all the range, the movement, the adjustability, you're trying that out every time you go out. Looseness and play, as well as cleaning the gear, and then the chute deflector, direction control lever. So this we did a maintenance on in a video already. So I would definitely do that every couple months. A lot of sand and grit and stuff get built up in there. And then the track, so the tension, that's on an upcoming video. It's very easy to check. The worm gear, so it's an asterisk here that the Yamaha dealer does that oil change. It's 50 milliliters of oil. So it says here every 12 months, so we did that already in a video. The drive belt condition, it's along with the other belt. Very easy to check. We'll check it in a later video. The transmission, that's in another video. Checking the level. It's very visible, easy to do. And then if oil leakage, well, if you keep a clean garage floor, you'll see if it's leaking. Ignition system, so checking the spark plug. We're going to do that on a future video. Electric starter working conditions, well, we profiled our starter with the oscillographs on a previous video already. Starting conditions of normal noise, and then measurement of rated engine idle and operating speed. Did that already in the previous video, but didn't adjust it though. Exhaust conditions, well, I mean, you see the exhaust coming out. If it's not clean and smoke free, then you have a problem. Compression pressure, I've already documented in a video. I'm going to be rendering it later. Valve clearance as well. And removal of carbon from the cylinder head. I'm probably not going to be doing that for a very long time, but maybe for a future video we'll entertain it. Lubrication system. So for me, my garage floor is fairly clean. I'm going to spot a single drop of oil if it comes out. Maybe not one drop, but 10. Oil level, well, I haven't checked in a bit. A guy should do that. Oil change, we'll get that documented at probably the end of the season because I did it at the beginning of this season, or which was the end of the last season. Fuel leakage, obviously, if you're leaking fuel, you got a problem. The carburetor, throttle valve, and choke valve conditions. I don't really intend to check that. We will check the air filter. And then carburetor adjustment, I'm not going to do that unless something doesn't start working correctly. Fuel level, obviously check the fuel every time. And the fuel hose, I will not be replacing it every 4 years. You can just check and make sure it's not leaking, cracked. The muffler, you can check it once in a while for looseness and make sure it's in decent condition, that the spark arrestor is not clogged. And then chassis and moving parts. So to me, I check this quite often in the garage, just make sure that nothing looks out of the ordinary. And then lubricating each part. So lubricating, I like to apply sparingly and only apply lubricant to surfaces that are either prone to corrosion or that aren't moving well, because lubricants can tend to attract other things, especially in summer with dust and stuff. So I don't go crazy with the lubrication. So yeah, that's what the chart entails. It's fairly reasonable in my view. And all right, guys, for those who are still awake, there's something I want to go through here. Right out of left field, because I know this video was kind of dry. So one of the things I wanted to point out to people is for lead acid batteries, really any kind of battery, there's always a voltage chart that shows what the battery state of charge is, corresponding to what voltage is measured on the open circuit. So an AGM battery, an absorbed glass mat battery, which is what these are, have this chart. This is from like scooterworld.com or something. So here, if you're fully charged, you'd have 13 volts down to 10.5 for 0% charge. I want to show you guys a quick method of measuring your battery's voltage without even taking a cover off. And most machines I've ever kind of worked on, snowblowers, snowmobiles, dirt bikes, whatever, there's always a quick way to do this. You don't always need to get to the battery proper. So thanks for sticking around for this kind of a little bit more boring video, and I'll cut now to the scene where I show you how to do that.
You take your two probes, take your black and your red probe from your multimeter on DC voltage mode, put the black probe to somewhere grounded, like a solid bolt into the frame, and then go to behind the key assembly, and there's a big, what looks to be red, I'm colorblind, there's a big red wire, I think, find it, 12.58 volts. So if you want to measure voltage of the battery without taking that cover off and getting to the battery, then I think that's probably your only option without any form of disassembly.